up, Hawks fans? Welcome to another episode of the Hawks Nest podcast. This is episode number 8 of this 2022 season. Once again, I'm your host, Matt Yazel, voice of the Boise Hawks, and I have another special guest joining me later on in this episode. Hawks infielder Raymond Gil chats about his 2022 season, one of the everyday, middle-of-the-order power bats on this Hawks team. Currently leads the team with 14 home runs, so look forward to my chat with Ray a little bit later on. But first, I'm going to give my update on the squad. I currently record this on Friday, August 26th at Melaleuca Field in Idaho Falls. Tonight is Game 4 of the 6-game series against the Idaho Falls Chuckers, and this is the final road series of this 2022 season. The Hawks have a 2-1 series lead currently, but the Chuckers were able to win on a walk-off last night. After the Hawks were able to win the first 2 games by finals of 5-1 and 4-1 respectively, really quieting those Chuckers bats, pitching really stepping up, the Chuckers were able to clinch the Idaho Transportation Department Highway Series with that walk-off 5-4 victory last night. So the Traffic Cone Trophy will now stay here in Idaho Falls. It made the trip from the Hawks front office, where it's been all offseason and all season long, and will now call Melaleuca Field home, at least until next season. The 24-game series, the most games for either team played against one single opponent. The Chuckers now lead the season series 13 games to 8, with 3 more left here in this set before the Hawks head home to Boise for the final 2 series of the year, a 6-game set against Grand Junction starting right away on Monday night. No off day after our Sunday afternoon series finale here. And then an off day next Sunday prior to the final series of the year against Missoula beginning on Labor Day afternoon, a 2 p.m. start on that Monday, Labor Day. The final game of the season being scheduled for a 7 p.m. start on Saturday night, September 10th. But a lot to talk about this team. The last road series up in Kalispell, they finished losing 4 games to 2. Again, they won the opener of that set and then won the finale of the set with a solid performance, a 9-6 win on the Sunday series finale. And they came here to Idaho Falls after that game. We spent the off day here in Idaho Falls. Got a chance to just rest and relax. The first off day we've spent an entire day in a city on the road prior to, again, the 6-game set starting Tuesday night. And some of the best pitching we've seen all year long. Alex Smith, who, we talked about the trade with Grand Junction in the last episode. Smith is the one immediate player the Hawks got in return, a player to be named later coming next year as well. But Smith made his debut for the Hawks, a strong 4 innings, giving up just 1 earned run, and then the bullpen shut it down from there. Jordan Nelson covering 3 innings, and Buddy Pindell covering the last 2, combining to just give up 1 hit. Jordan Nelson picking up his first professional win in a Hawks uniform. And then Wednesday night was one of the most fun nights of the season. Mitch Lines pitching in a 141-pitch complete game. Just the second complete game in all of the Pioneer League this season. And obviously an absurd amount of pitches. He gave up just 1 unearned run, so technically could be considered a complete game shutout, but it won't go as one. He struck out 8 Chuckers hitters, and he had 130 pitches after the 8th inning. So a lot of trust and a lot of confidence there from the Hawks staff to be able to continue to send him out there. And obviously an incredible performance that Lines and this team will remember. A really fun night here, and was incredible to watch Lines go to work on Wednesday night. More roster moves to talk about. A lot more roster moves later in this season than the Hawks had earlier on, as if you have missed any of our broadcasts this week, there was another trade that the Hawks made, sending Juan Teixeira, Zach Penrod, and Byron Smith to the Billings Mustangs, who are competing for a playoff spot in the Pioneer League North Division, as is this Idaho Falls Chuckers team. And in return, getting Hunter DePrimo, who's actually starting on the mound tonight on this Friday night for Boise, and the 2023 rights to two left-handed pitchers who've had a ton of success this season, Elijah Gil and Bo Bonvillain, two big arms who Boise is looking at to add to their team next year. Again, those two staying in Billings for the remainder of this season, and two guys who've had great stats on the year. Elijah Gil is a starter for the Mustangs. He's made 13 appearances and 12 starts, a 2-0 record with a 2.88 earned run average, averaging over 8 strikeouts per 9 innings, 61 strikeouts in 68 and 2/3 innings pitched. And then Bo Bonvillain is a left-handed reliever. He's made 36 appearances, has a 3-2 record, 33 and 2/3 innings pitched. He has a 1.87 ERA with 53 strikeouts in those 33 and 2/3 innings pitched. So two big left-handed arms joining this Hawks team next season, as well as a player to be named later for the 2023 season, which will be decided after the year. So a lot of talent coming to next year's Boise squad, as, of course, this year the Hawks are no longer in the playoff race. They are mathematically eliminated now from playoff contention after their loss last night, sitting 16.5 games back of Grand Junction in the second half standings with just 15 games left to play. And obviously big losses there for Boise the rest of this year. Teixeira led the team in most, if not all, offensive categories at the time of his departure. And Zach Penrod, of course, a local guy from Nampa, Idaho. Got to think it's bittersweet for Penrod to be leaving this Hawks team. But, of course, all three excited for the opportunity to play for a contender, as were Jacob Cruz and Ian Kahaloa. Cruz has been balling for the Grand Junction Rockies in his short time there. But in terms of this Hawks team, a few more roster moves to talk about. Reed Johnson, a new 20-year-old starting pitcher, made his debut in Kalispell on Sunday afternoon, and he will get a second start here on a Sunday afternoon as well. We talked about him a bit, just a 20-year-old starting pitcher. Went just 3 innings, but that was the plan for Reed, his first start of the season, not fully stretched out. He did well outside of allowing a couple of home run balls that led to 4 earned runs. Otherwise, pitched very well, and again, Reed is looking to be a guy who sticks around Boise in the offseason and is a guy that the Hawks are able to develop and potentially have for multiple years, or at least next season, and have him really built up and ready to go for the Pioneer League season next year. Talked about Hunter DePrimo starting on the mound tonight. Smith's debut on Tuesday night. So a lot of new faces here in Boise, as could see some more shakeup as well for the final 2 weeks of the year, getting some guys more playing time and a chance to end the season on a high note, which Boise looks to do in front of their home crowd for the final 2 weeks. Finally, for my hitter and pitcher of the week, I think I have two pretty easy choices this week. I already mentioned Mitch Lines. He obviously gets the nod for pitcher of the week. By far the best start by a Hawks starting pitcher this season, and an incredible feat to throw a complete game. I will add on top of it, however, that Mitch Lines has been nominated as an MVP against the Idaho Falls Chuckers. The Highway Series awards a player the MVP belt of the Highway Series, so only factoring in their stats against the other team. So my hitter of the week, a spoiler as well, is going to be Raymond Gil. Mitch Lines and Raymond Gil were nominated as the MVPs of the Highway Series. Dusty Stroop and Brendan Hewitt were nominated for Idaho Falls. So if you're listening to this before the Sunday series finale, go to the Hawks and the Idaho Falls Chuckers Twitter pages to vote for the MVP. I believe Mitch Lines was winning. I know the Chuckers poll, I think it was pretty neck and neck between Lines and Gil on the Hawks Twitter poll, but both will be factored in, and then a winner of the belt will be awarded, I believe, on Sunday, if not after the game on Sunday. So, of course, Mitch Lines gets the nod. Again, the complete game, an incredible performance. And Raymond Gil will get the nod as well. I am factoring in the Kalispell series as well. So Mitch Lines went 5 1/3 in his start in Kalispell, his first start in over a month, pitched very well. And Gil on the week has 4 home runs, 2 solo shots in Kalispell, and 2 solo shots in the first 3 games here in Idaho Falls, including one that went 444 feet last night to dead center field. He's got 8 hits on the series in total. Unfortunately for the Hawks, all of the home runs have been solo home runs. So just 6 runs batted in total on the series. But very good weeks for Mitch Lyons and Raymond Gil, and potentially an MVP belt for one of those two should the Twitter polls go their way. But that's going to do it for my update on the team. Without further ado, here is my conversation with Hawks infielder Raymond Gil. All right, I'm here with Hawks infielder Raymond Gil. Ray, thanks for joining me. And before we kind of get to your season this year with the Hawks, you've been with the team since day one. I just want to have you kind of go through a bit about your baseball background. And, this is your first time playing professionally. So talk a bit about where you were at before this and how you ended up playing here in Boise.
So I grew up in Miami, ended up attending the University of Miami for 4 years. And then I transferred for my grad year to Jacksonville. Was there for like 8 games for the season. And then I have an agent that knows Gary and has a friendship with him. And they kind of talked, and I found myself with this opportunity, and I jumped on it when I had the chance.
So we've talked a bit earlier on, but obviously playing at Miami in your home city seems kind of like a dream come true for a high-level high school guy like you. Talk about what the experience was like playing a full 4 seasons in your hometown.
Oh, it's a dream come true, playing in front of family and friends. I grew up going to games at the Light, so I've always wanted to play there. They had a good history as a program, and it was a dream come true.
And what was kind of the level of baseball there in the ACC? Obviously, big baseball Division I conference, and I don't know if there's any added pressure for you trying to put on for your hometown, but what was the level of baseball like in that
It was pretty
conference?
high, I'd say. I think the ACC is one of the top conferences in college baseball, so definitely my freshman year it got to me a little bit, the pressure. Packed house, playing in front of everybody I grew up with, so then I kind of settled in and just remembered it's just a game, and it was fun after that.
And how did you kind of develop yourself over those 4 years plus those few games in Jacksonville as well? How did you kind of build yourself up and keep getting better to the point where you have this opportunity here to play professionally right after college?
Just trying to be a sponge, learn from the older guys I played with, the coaches that I've played under, and just try to take in everything I can and grow as a player. And I think every year I matured a little bit more and more. Like my game has evolved with some time, so I think that's prepared me for my first year here in Pro Bowl.
And what attracted you here to Boise? Was it kind of the coaches or just the league in general? Did you know anything about the league or Boise, Idaho? I don't know if you've ever been before this season, but what kind of attracted you to playing here?
I mean, the opportunity to come play in Indy ball was huge. I kind of knew Alejandro from last year, so I talked to him a little bit about what to expect from this league and from this team and Gary and all that stuff, and I heard nothing but good things, so I was looking forward to it.
And this year on the team, some guys have come and went, but you've had a lot of South Florida connections on the team. I know Abraham talked about how you guys knew each other growing up, playing baseball against each other. So what was that like when he joined the team, and also just how many South Florida connections you've had here in Boise?
Yeah, it's actually kind of crazy. It's a small world if you think about it. I didn't know that Abraham was coming. It was actually kind of funny because I just saw him in the locker room one day, and I grew up with him. I think we started playing with each other when we were like 9, 10 years old, so that's always fun to reconnect with someone that you grew up playing with. And then overall, this whole year, we've had guys come in and out that I've known for a while, so that's always special to like rekindle that friendship and to play with some guys you never thought you were going to play with again.
So, getting to the kind of player you are, the season you've had, you've been pretty much the everyday third baseman up until now, where you've kind of transitioned over to first base, and you've led the team in home runs for a good part of the season, in the middle of the order almost every day. So just talk about, we only got a few weeks left of this season, talk about the season that you've had and how you view your role on this Hawks team.
My role, I think, is just to go in every day and try to help us win, either driving runs or get on base to get some guys to drive me in and to play the best defense I can. Overall, as a season, I think it's been ups and downs, but that's baseball. I'm just trying to stay as consistent as possible. And this being my first year, I've learned a lot from Gary and and some of the returners that have been here and have done it for a while. So it's been fun, and I've learned a lot this past year.
And how has this recent transition from third to first been for you? I've seen you kind of putting in extra work with Gary and BP, kind of subbing in for Cruz at first. So how has that transition been for you?
I mean, it hasn't been that bad because I played a little bit of first in college. Not too much, but I know enough, I feel like, to play there every day and contribute somehow. So Gary's been great in teaching me some stuff that I needed to be taught because I either forgot or didn't know, or there's something he wants to be done a specific way. So it's not that much harder than third. I think it's kind of similar. So I'm just getting used to it.
So as a hitter, you've been really fun to watch this season as one of our biggest power hitters, and something that has really fascinated me, we've talked about it a bit, but your ability to go the opposite field.
Mm-hmm.
A majority of your home runs have went to the opposite field, which is pretty rare for any hitter. So talk a little bit about where that comes from and just how much you value being able to go the opposite way.
I think it's huge. I mean, I grew up, my dad and my grandpa always told me that money's made going to the opposite side of the field. So that's always been ingrained in me as a kid. So I just feel like it keeps you honest. Like if I'm able to go right center field on pretty much any pitch, then I can't really get beat on most stuff unless I get myself out. Because if you're a pull hitter, you tend to pull off some balls and tend to miss some pitches you shouldn't miss. So I think it just keeps me honest and helps my approach out a lot. So I like it. It feels good when I go backside. So I'm just going to try to stay there.
So is that something that you think of during BP? A lot of power hitters just want to go up there and yank a ball 450 feet to get themselves going, get themselves hyped up. But when you're taking BP, are you actively thinking in your mind of trying to go the opposite way?
For the first round or two, yeah. I'm trying to get the feel of it and go that way. And then after that, I just let it happen, and just set my sights somewhere. So let's say I'm going to hit the ball middle. And then that would allow me to just be on every pitch, whether it's hit to the pull side or oppo. So.
And another thing I've been fascinated with you as a hitter is that you typically don't wear batting gloves, which is pretty rare in this league and really any level of baseball nowadays, even in the wood bat league. So talk about why you choose to do that.
So growing up, I'm a big Cardinals fan. So I'd watch a bunch of guys not use batting gloves, and then up to recently, Matt Carpenter wouldn't wear batting gloves. So I thought it was a pretty cool look, kind of looks more manly, I think. I don't know why. And I feel pretty cool up there without batting gloves. So I don't know, my grandpa always told me growing up that he never used batting gloves, like that wasn't a thing back in the day. So I don't know. It's just I feel a part of that, so I like it.
It's just kind of the feel of the bat feels better to you some way?
Yeah, it feels more natural. I feel like I'm connected with the bat instead of having like batting gloves on.
There you go. But I've seen you now, in Kalispell, I talked to you about on the turf field. Yeah. You normally, I got to admit, I was a little confused when I first saw you digging in the dirt to try to get a better grip. So talk about that, how you try to, adjust with not having the gloves.
Right, so with pine tar, once you start using it, if it's not super hot, it won't be as sticky. And then through the course of the game, it'll get slick. So I need dirt, and it kind of balances it out, and it makes it like the right amount of sticky that I need. So when we're in Kalispell, I didn't have any dirt. So it'll just get slick on me, and then you saw me, I let go of the bat.
Right.
So yeah, dirt's huge. It's a big part. I think might be more important than pine tar at this point.
So, we're ramping down this season. You're trying to end the year on a high note. You've been hot recently. Talk about just kind of where your head's at as we have just a couple weeks left. And, just trying to end on a high note. What are some things you're trying to work on right now as a player?
I think we got like a little bit over 2 weeks left. I'm just trying to be as consistent as possible. I think in the locker room we're talking about just, like you said, ending on a high note and winning as many games as possible and just playing good team baseball. So I just want to try to contribute every night in some way, either defensively, offensively, base running, any way to help our team win, and then just try to improve day in and day out and not give at bats away.
And what does, after the season ends, what does the offseason hold for you, and what are the thoughts going through your mind about potentially next year if you'd be open to returning, or obviously the goal for a lot of you guys is to get signed to affiliated ball. So what does the offseason hold for you, and what are your thoughts about your future as a baseball player?
I mean, I like to think I'm still young, so I definitely will give this another go for a couple more years. If Gary will have me back, I'll be more than happy to come back here. This is going to be a unique offseason for me because I've never really had one. I've always been in college, so you're always playing summer ball, fall ball all season. So I'm for sure going to take like a week and a half, 2 weeks off, and then just get right back to it, lifting every day, trying to hit and stay in shape, and then prepare myself for next season, whether that's here in Boise or affiliated ball or wherever that may be.
So, last few questions here. You mentioned you're a Cardinals fan despite being from Miami. We've butted heads over that this season, but that's fine. But it seems pretty cool, the reasons that you are a Cardinals fan. So talk about that a little bit and why that has mattered to you, talking about some of those players you grew up loving.
Yeah, so growing up, I was a huge Jim Edmonds fan. I think that's still my favorite baseball player of all time. So that's one of the main reasons I'm a Cardinals fan. And then my dad was a truck driver, and he'd always drive through Missouri, St. Louis, Green Bay, Wisconsin. So I just grew up a fan. My dad would bring me back like a hat or something, and then we'll watch the games. And then slowly I just became a huge Cardinals fan for some reason.
And you are a Packers fan too, so that's a big plus for me. Do you plan on going back to Miami in the offseason, or where are you kind of planning on going?
As of right now, yeah, the goal is to go back to Miami. I might go visit some friends in Wisconsin, actually, to go catch a Packers game.
There you go.
And then, yeah, probably just stay in Miami and hang out with some family and train there all off season.
And Miami's obviously a place where it's warm all year round, beautiful weather. So what is the baseball culture like there, even in the winter months? Obviously it's a lot different there than other places in the country. So talk about the baseball culture and maybe how that helped kind of shape the player that you are.
Yeah, I mean, baseball Miami is year round. In the summer you get a lot of rainouts, but in the winter there's not as many, and it's hot and humid. So we never have to worry about, it's too cold to go outside or it's snowing. So we never have to be indoors, so we get to just practice every day. So it's a huge plus to know we're never going to get shut down by bad weather, especially in the winter. And it allows you to grow your game year-round, I feel like. The bad side about it, though, growing up at least, was I could never play other sports. Since the weather was always good, I just played baseball year-round. And I wish maybe I could have played maybe football or basketball or something like that. Whereas I feel like guys from the north get to play in the winter like another sport because you can't play baseball when it's snowing, So that's one thing. But other than that, baseball, the culture there is great. I love it.
Interesting. So when you look back at this season, your first pro ball season, what would you say, two things? What has been your favorite part of this year, and what have you been most proud of from your first season?
Proud of is the fact that I didn't miss as many games as some people thought I might have. And then the coolest part is just connecting with guys on our team from all over the place and guys from other teams too. I think that's always the cool side of baseball is finding out where other people are from, what they're about, like what they think, because we all think and we're raised differently. So to come in, spend every day with each other, bus rides, games and stuff, you learn a lot about people and different ways of life, and I think that's the coolest part.
And when you kind of came into this year and thought about what you wanted to do this season, now when you look back and think about where you were at, would you say you've kind of accomplished what you wanted to? This season was a success for you, or how do you kind of view that?
I wouldn't say a success, just because I kind of view my goals attached with winning. And obviously we didn't win that much this year. And so I wouldn't view it as a true success. I mean, some aspects I think it was successful in terms of how I'd bounce back after struggling for a little bit, or how I fought through some injuries and stuff like that. But I think the name of the game is to win and to compete at a high level. So I'm not saying we can't do that. I think we're a good team. We just didn't put it together for some games. But yeah.
All right. Well, that's all I got for you, man. Appreciate you taking the time. Best of luck the rest of the way.
Appreciate it, Matt.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode of the Hawks Nest podcast. My thanks, of course, to Raymond Gil for sitting down and taking the time. Again, we have about 2 more weeks of this season to go, so looking at least 2 more episodes of this podcast on the season. We'll have 2 more special guests at least. Again, not sure what the plans are. We'll see how it all shakes out at the end of the year. But thank you all for listening. If you'd like to tune in to the rest of our broadcasts this season, we've got 3 more here in Idaho Falls, which will be on the Boise Hawks Facebook Live page. And then the rest of the games, the final 12 games at home, will be on the Pioneer League website at pblnetwork.com with the live video feed as well as my commentary. So tune in to the games. You can follow the Hawks on social media at Boise Hawks on Twitter, at the Boise Hawks on Instagram. And again, go to our Facebook page and our website, boisehawks.com, for all of the coverage on the team, my post-game recaps and all game notes and everything else you need on the team. If you want to follow me on social media, I am at MJ Yazel on Twitter and at Matt Yazel on Instagram. That's YEAZEL to get the broadcaster's perspective, as we're just about done with all the road trips this season. It's been a lot of fun to travel around with the team, all brand new cities for me. Kalispell was a gorgeous experience playing at the new Flathead Field, brand new expansion team in the Pioneer League, the Glacier Range Riders, and a good end to the road season here in Idaho Falls. The in-state rivalry is hot right now. So thank you for tuning into this episode of the Hawks Nest podcast. I will see you next week. Have a great week, Hawks fans.